more snow. I take more snow on this way.
Did you girls want to sign in? Everybody want to make sure they sign in.
Try not to go outside.
Yeah, I hear you there. Thank God for cabs.
Yeah. Well, down and make sure everything was gonna turn, so that was good.
That's after that.
Everybody's here? We can get started. All right, let's call this meeting to order. First, we need to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Dewey? Do I have a second? And Nicole. All right, citizens' opportunity to address the council. All in favor, sorry.
Aye.
Sometimes I get ahead of myself. Always. Okay. Any opposed? I didn't hear any. Motion carried. Citizens' opportunity to address the council. 5 minutes max. Anybody out here want to address the council? From the public.
My name's Trisha. I usually don't speak out during city council meetings, but after the last meeting, I felt that I needed to. What I watched was embarrassing for our community here in Pocahontas. I understand that there's so much time to get things done, but lately the meetings have felt more like a circus than a productive discussion. When people outside our town see this behavior, it makes them question whether they even want to be a part of our community. I'm asking each of you to take accountability for your actions and how you treat each other. Take a moment to collect yourself and come together as a team so that real issues can actually be addressed. If one person's responsible for the agenda, let them do their job. Create a process that's clear and stick to it so the meetings can move forward respectively and efficiently. The way I've watched the council's members speak to each other has been difficult to watch. There are also rumors circulating around the town that you guys are trying to push off the city administrator. In my opinion, thinking that replacing her would bring quick solutions, but would be a huge mistake. I want to commend her for the patience she has shown while trying to work with each and every one of you. At the end of last week's meeting, I also watched the mayor belittle the chief of police when he was trying to communicate and understand what he was being asked. That kind of interaction is not what our community expects from this leadership. I'm asking all of you today to set personal agendas aside and work together as a team. You are here to serve this community, and we deserve leadership that works together to move Pocahontas forward. Pocahontas is better than what we've been seeing in these meetings. It's time for the leadership in this room to start reflecting the pride the rest of this community has in our town.
Thank you, Tricia.
Thank you.
Anybody else as a citizen Jason that needs to address? All right, approve the consent agenda, previous minutes, 3-2 and 3-3, the special meeting on 3-3. Did everybody get a chance to read those? Any problems?
I'll make a motion to approve your consent agenda for the minutes and the bills.
You wanna do the bills at the same time? Are we approving
The two sets
the
of
minutes
and the bills. You can approve the consent agenda together.
together? Okay.
And the bills.
I had a question on this bill. Who is that for? That makes sense then. Cody moved. Do we have a second? Wes? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Old business. Sorry, Greg. We are going to review the splash pad location materials with the Parks Board representatives, Hudson's crew, and Cole Moeller. Cole is attending via Zoom.
I don't know if you want anywhere special or just here.
If you're gonna speak, I'd kinda like to have you up where we can see you.
Okay. Hang out by Cole, maybe over here.
Pull up a chair.
Sitting here?
Pull up a chair. Yep.
Hey, Cole. Good, how are you? Oh, yeah. No, it's fine. It'll be okay.
Cole, can you say something so we can make sure the volume's up here?
Test 1 2, test 1 2.
Bye.
Spring is near. Spring is near. Not yet though.
All right, go ahead, Nicole. I don't know what we're doing here for sure, what we,
I think the last meeting, we asked that 2 Parks Board representatives be here, with Jeff and Craig, I think, right?
Yep.
And all of us continue that discussion, after having time to review the materials that we all requested as far as size, sewer, water, electric. I think those were the main things, right? Everybody got the splash pad materials, the city maps. And then we just wanted to have Cole here, cause he obviously is able to discuss the infrastructure as far as how it relates to the blueprints a little more in depth than maybe any of us can. I know part of the discussion was hoping that Dewey had some information to contribute as far as any questions for city water, sewer, electric, stuff like that too, but just wanting to wrap up that discussion, and then our plan was the Parks Board is having a meeting Thursday, their regularly scheduled meeting, where they would potentially decide the location if they choose, present that to us, and we would then vote on
Cole, do you have any information that you would like to tell us at this point? Or are you still waiting to hear more from us?
I think I just would like to be able to answer any questions that you guys have. Now, I know there's been a little bit of turnover on this, so I'm happy to summarize the process or how we've reached the design and location that we have. But I don't have anything on my end that I want to point out right away, just kind of here to help answer any of your guys' questions. I have the Vortex Resource Center pulled up so I can show some examples of install drawings. I can show you examples of our pad design. So I've got some resources here that I can share with you guys. But yeah, just here to help answer any questions that you guys have.
I have a question. So on your drawing that we have, it's not a drawing that's related to where it's sitting on the property.
That's correct.
So.
Yep. The only thing in relation to that is the splash pad shape, and the way it's canted on the plans. So I'm looking at the Pocahontas City Park PD approval PDF. Is that what you guys are looking at as well?
I'm looking at what came in our packet.
Could you share your screen at all, Cole, and
Yeah,
kind of show?
I can definitely do that. Yep. I'm just gonna ask if you guys will be able to see my screen if I shared it. So I'll pull this up. Are you able to see that? Okay, perfect. So over here, you have your general notes on specifications for construction. Now, these notes are all recommendations that Vortex, who is the manufacturer of the splash pad equipment, has. Some of them may need to shift according to the site that you guys are looking to place a splash pad. But a lot of these general specifications are pretty industry-wide standards, and they don't really fluctuate at all. So they're usually what we see as far as the install process itself. Now, as far as these plans showing the splash pad and then that cabinet manifold, that is how it is depicted for a north, south, east, west view. So we have the splash pad currently placed just to the southwest of the pool itself, kind of at this canted angle to fit in that green space. The way we did that is in preliminary design, we actually showed like sidewalk connections that came from the pool, came from parking, came from other amenities that are just north of where the splash pad will go. So that's kind of how we came to the cant of the rectangle itself. And then as far as the manifold, we just wanted to place it in a spot that is probably the shortest location for a potable water line to feed the manifold. So it does not have to go in this location. We just believe it's probably the best since the pool house and the pool is right there. We can bring over that 3-inch water line to be stuck up in our manifold. Is there, electrical's there already as well. So that's where we have it shown. Now, as far as actually putting this on a site plan, we do not have that. This is just a standard baseline, plumbing and electrical schematic that Vortex shares.
So you're talking about sidewalks. How many sidewalks do we need to have to be ADA to be
As long as
accessible?
there's an accessible route at that 1 to 2% slope for ADA, that would probably classify the splash pad as being ADA. Now the features themselves are spread out. Vortex takes into consideration their spray zones, and so that's another 2D that we have. I don't have that pulled up, but I can show you that.
I'm just curious because there's no sidewalks on the frames.
And you said last meeting,
And
Cody wasn't there, that
who's responsible for those
we
sidewalks?
are there, Cody wanted. Yeah.
What about parking?
I don't believe we need any additional parking.
Well, we can't take parking away from the pool. And there's only about street parking 6 places, unless you're gonna cross the street.
There's
What
parking
is
for
it,
the tennis courts.
what is the ADA accessible for parking? We need handicap spots and sidewalks and ramps.
Well, are we saying, I mean, I guess the splash pad and the pool would all be like the community amenity, nothing's labeled like has to be a pool user. I mean, between pool parking, street parking, pickleball parking, I don't know.
Pickleball pool parking is in front of the pool.
But if you put diagonal parking on Court Square, then, you know,
Yeah, what do we need to do for parking? Do we need to have a sidewalk along the street, make that by law? Do we need to have ramps for people to get up the curb? Do we need to have the little bumpy things in the sidewalks?
So my thought, and well, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I was thinking that it's coming off of like where you come up to the pool, and then it's a sidewalk that takes you over to the splash pad.
But
So you-
by law, is that right?
I think
How
I-
close do we have to be?
To the splash pad?
There's laws.
I know.
That's,
Well, I sent all those laws to Laura, like, she's got all the documents, so that would be a question, I don't know if she would know, or, I don't know if both of you, do you know if there are any Iowa laws about, you're saying park from where you park to the splash pad?
How far away is this?
I'm not familiar with as far as a distance. Most of what we do and we look at are just sidewalk connections. As far as parking, that's a good question. I don't have a lot of knowledge as far as ADA requirements for parking and where those parking spaces need to be located adjacent to the pad or the pool. So it's something I can look into and try and help with, but I'm not familiar with a lot of those regulations as far as parking. As far as the parking areas that are available currently, there is a little gravel lot over by what looks to be the old basketball courts. Is that utilized for parking for the pool?
That's lifeguards usually parking over there on that side. Basically, your parking for the swimming pool is from the little cutout where the snow cone shed there, along the curb line heading to the east, until it gets to the gravel. Just about in front of the grass. I mean, you know, anything that's grass in front of the swimming pool is basically parking for community people. A lot of people park over underneath the shade tree at Court Square, but they're gonna be there all day, so their car's not hot, and a lot of times there's cars parked over in front of the Legion, so.
Okay.
So that might be something we need to look into, like, if between a pool and a splash pad, are there any regulations of, yeah, is there even a marked handicap spot right now, and if there's not, do we need one or do we need two? Yeah, I guess those would be.
no, Spirit Lake has a pretty good side parking lot with sidewalks in front with handicap. Innsbruck does too.
Well, I bet sand construction, that would kind of fall under them, correct? Of knowing those,
So my question is who's paying for that? We have to put more parking in.
If it's something we wanna focus on, we need to make sure the pool is compliant as well, so it's something that we probably need to just approach from our whole city. I know it was brought up a couple months ago that as far as our sidewalks throughout town and stuff like that aren't even ADA compliant, so if that's something that we wanna focus on, that's something we need to focus on across the city
Yes,
in the
but
future.
we need to focus on the splash pad because who's paying for it?
Well, is that discussion relevant to where it goes, because we don't have handicap parking in Albert Park either?
It's relevant to can the splash pad open without parking by law?
I will say, by law, yes, there are no overseeing governances that oversee flow-through splash pads. Now, if it was a recirculating splash pad, that may be a little different because those fall under Iowa Pool Code, such as the pool would. So the state actually has to go through and look through all the aspects included within the design of a recirculating splash pad. There is no governance that oversees flow-through pads unless the DNR has to get involved, and that's all about where the water runs to. So, for instance, I'm all about making this ADA accessible. We need to make sure that that's something that that is a goal or a vision for the project, and it's necessary. But there's no law or regulation that would keep you from building the pad without any sidewalk connections. It's similar to like a dry playground. Sometimes traditional playground structures don't have sidewalk connections, although they should ideally, right? But it's not something that the governing agency is going to come in and shut you down because you don't have those things. Like I said, I believe we should have those things, but it's not something where it's gonna be shut down or condemned because we don't have an ADA parking slot or a sidewalk connection right away. So for instance, we're working on another project where we installed the splash pad. They put a concrete, basically deck connection to the pad, but there was no sidewalk connection from the parking lot itself to the pad. The pad's been operating for 2 years, and users just walk across the grass, but now we're looking to go back since they have additional funds and make those sidewalk connections. So it's just kind of a separate phase of that project in particular.
Any other questions?
Do we have any estimates on what this is gonna cost the city a year to operate?
Yeah, those were all sent in an email. I can run over those unless, Cole, if you have it pulled up, I can. Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, let me take a look. Give me a second. I can see if I can pull that up. I will say, just while I'm looking for this, the main portions of your operating cost for the summer will be your water usage, obviously, and then if you have sanitary rates as well, those will come into play. The electrical usage will be included. As far as maintenance goes, there's really only 2 major maintenance days that you'll have throughout a season, which is the startup process. So just sending whomever from the city out there to start it up, get everything up and running, and then at the end of the season, go in and winterizing everything. But since it is a flow-through system, we're not utilizing any chemicals here. We're just taking potable water that's stubbed up to the manifold. That water is then distributed evenly to the features, and then once it's utilized, it's running to sanitary. So,
So is there a, sorry,
nope, go ahead.
is there a filter on the drain that needs to be checked for leaves and stuff?
There's no filter on the drain. Now there are some drains where you can put a strainer basket in that in case you're worried about wood chips or something foreign getting down in that drain. In this case, the vortex drains are pretty small porous holes, so it's not easy for wrappers or leaves or foreign objects to get down through there. It's not included on this drain, I do not believe, but it's something that can be added if necessary.
What is the, what does it need for electrical?
This pad design is, I believe it's just a 1-phase. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong sheet. This one calls out. Sorry, a second. So it's 120 volt, 1-phase. Yeah, just one main power line being ran into the cabinet itself. So just single phase power.
Does that need to come off a breaker panel somewhere, or can it just come off a, is there a panel in the cabinet, or?
It will have to come off a breaker panel somewhere. If there's not one present already, that would something that would need to be sourced. So that's another reason we're trying to keep the cabinet closer to the pool building. We could probably pull the electrical that's needed over to that, and either put up a panel just on a unistrut outside of the cabinet, or
Would a meter main work?
Right.
Would a meter main work?
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
Would a meter main work, you know, where the meter, there's breakers, box right below the meter? I know the city's been putting them in on multiple places.
Yes, I believe it would. I can double check that with Vortex. It may be called out up here in the verbiage that's on the top page of the P&E. So I'll have to double check that.
What would you suggest us to budget for for next year to run the splash pad. Just between the 18 or to the 35.
Well, I'm trying to see if I can find that analysis cost sheet that we filled out. If not, I can send that to you guys so you can review it. But that'll tell us pretty much the nitty-gritty of what we expect it to cost. So we take everything into consideration as far as operation days throughout the splash pad season, which we classify as Memorial Day to Labor Day. Those can fluctuate a little bit, but that gives you basically 100 days. And then we take what's the average temperature, what's the average weather like in Pocahontas, Iowa for those 100 days. We plug in your water rates, your sanitary rates, the electrical rates. We put in a couple of separate factors such as man hours to operate the pad, go and check on it, twice a week, make sure everything's going right. Maybe 2 hours a season of troubleshooting something such as cleaning out a valve. So I can send that to you so you guys have to review. I apologize, I could have had it pulled up, but I can't find it right now. But it's something that we fill out and try and provide to the city so they're understanding of what the operation cost per season is.
Chef, Craig, did you guys have any other questions that you wanted to follow up on?
Just waiting for the go ahead.
I would really like to see a drawing with sidewalks and kind of where it's located on the property.
We're gonna have to remove any trees.
What are the actual dimensions, I guess, is what I,
It's like 55 feet long and I don't remember where it's like.
must be about 55 by 40 or something.
They're just asking on the dimensions and then, the trees, which Cole and I and, Christy and Nicole had an email. I'll try and find it unless Cole, you have it right next to you.
55 by 40 is what it shows.
As far as the pad dimensions themselves,
Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
it.
but
Yeah.
You said that trees would likely not be an issue. Pad is 54 by 40 feet in dimension. Green space, when measured, looks to be well over 5,000 square feet, and our pad is 2,190 square feet.
right, if you take the inside dimensions, now, I obviously didn't do this didn't go in person, but just on Google Maps, take the inside dimension of even where the branches come out on the trees. We've got a pretty good area there. We do have a little bit of room to play, I think, if we wanted to move the pad or shift it slightly in some different direction to avoid any trees. Back to the question of can we show a plan with sidewalk connections? That's something we did in the preliminary rounds of this design when we moved it. So I can share that with you guys to see just what it could look like. So that's something our design team included in the 2D layout with the splash pad. So I can definitely share that. That'll just be all in our archived information since we didn't move forward with any of the sidewalk connections yet, but we still have it. So.
We drive by that place all the time, just why that work is still the same, are they? Okay. Realize it's not. Okay.
I just have a couple questions for you. So you have Sands doing are they just the general contractor or are they,
And the install and the construction, or concrete.
so for electrical, are they,
No, that would be, we have someone who's volunteered their time out of, Albert City, Ohio, I think his name.
and the plumbing?
Also was donated time from JD Plumbing, Dijon, I wanna say. And then Lupton Sons for excavating. And then anything that needs to be picked up at Sands will
Um,
have it.
insurance and all that project work.
We discussed last week with, Ryan there about getting with your legal team and making sure that there's contracts that exist on both parties, up until time of gifting, we should go that route. And what that needs to look like, making sure that we're not taking any liability on during the construction phase, and you're not taking any after you've given it up.
Yeah, so you say in construction you want proof of insurance, is that right?
Yeah.
And then electrical plumbing.
Basically any contractor that's working on it, if it's donated or not, that's all I have.
I did find the operating cost analysis for this path, so I can share that with you guys here quick, just let me pull it up. It's working a little weird on my screen. Okay, here we go, sorry. Are you guys able to see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a sheet that basically summarizes all the different costs that will go into the operation of the splash pad throughout one season. Some of these items can be changed just depending on like your water rates in town. So we sent this over and asked the city to plug in their own water rates and their own sanitary rates, and then the functions within these cells will just automatically update everything. So it breaks it down from annual operating costs to total 10-year costs and total 15-year costs, just so you can understand what it looks like throughout the future. So the parameters and assumptions that we have, you guys can see them there kind of labeled out, but we have gallons per day used. So the splash pad itself is about 120 GPM. Now, all those features taken into consideration, they're not going to run all at the same time. They're going to be phased so that splash pad controller will operate, let's say, 70% of the features at one time. So you got to kind of take the average, if it's 120 GPM with every single feature running, take that times 70%, and that gives you your true GPM of what you're utilizing. Then just take that into consideration with hours of operation throughout the day. So you guys are able to customize the hours that the pad will run throughout an operating day. Usually we see around 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. or so in the summertime, so about 10 hours. And then, like I said, we take all the things into consideration, like weather, rain days, days where it's really, really hot and the pad will get utilized a lot, days where maybe it's not so warm towards the beginning or end of the season. So just taking all those things into consideration, averaging out what we think the cost will be for daily maintenance time required on the pad, some of the bigger items that you have to do throughout the season, such as startup and winterization. And then these are just kind of the summarized numbers that I just talked about. So hours a day, days of the season.
So what is your yearly cost?
The 1 year for this was before they had the city's custom water rates plugged in. So this was taken from another city, was $36,000 for operating costs approximately for a year working with that.
And you also had 10 years, what were they?
Yep, 10-year cost with this particular design was $664,000. 15-year cost, $847,000. So just gives you a good idea of what the operating costs will be over the years. to send this again to anybody who'd like to see it and kind of look through it on a deeper level.
Do you want me to send it to you, Christy?
You wanna send it to Cody?
Send it to all of us.
Okay. Do you wanna send that into the message that you had with Christy and Nicole and I, if you find that? We can make sure it's dispersed,
Absolutely, I can do that right now.
as well as the picture with sidewalk, whenever you find that. I'm sure I have it somewhere, but if you have it pulled up.
Okay, I can do that.
Thank you.
Is that it? No more questions? No more?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Cole.
Yeah, absolutely. Reach out if you guys have any other questions in the future. For what it's worth, we've worked with Sandy Construction on multiple projects before. Joel Armitage is great to work with, so he knows his way around Vortex. He'll do well by you guys, but let me know if there's any questions or anything else I can help with, but thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
I have one more question.
Yes.
What does it normally take from start to finish? How much time?
That's it depends on the contractors that you have, just because some of them may have delays. Concrete especially, the site can be excavated, plumbed out, everything can be good to go, but then you're waiting, a week for the concrete contractor to come on site and get the pour done. So I would say for a pad this size, anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks is pretty reasonable, as long as the contractors are kind of on their game with scheduling and everything else goes smoothly.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Cole.
Parks Board, anything you guys wanna have to say?
Do we have enough power, water, and sewer down there to? Yeah.
Dewey said
Okay.
yes.
So we said yes.
I heard the.
That's the main concern, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
You're probably looking at a 3-inch water main to feed it, to get to 170 gallon a minute, so. I think there's a 10-inch main right down in front of the swimming pool, and the sewer's a 6-inch coming out of there, so yeah, it will handle it. And I'm pretty sure there's transformers right there sitting there too, so. I mean,
Yeah, Cole had said that the pad is fed from a 3-inch city water line coming from the pool. Drain is tied into an 8-inch municipal sanitary line.
It won't be coming from the pool.
I'm just reading,
No,
yeah, I'm just
okay,
reading what he
no,
said
I don't
here. And then below is the plumbing and electrical schematic, so there's, part of those 2D prints are showing where everything's stemming off of
I
there.
would just assume that they would tap the main right in front of you, right in front of the splash pad.
Dewey, is that all on the splash pad side of the porch square?
Yes, the sewer comes right out of the east side of the swimming pool, about halfway down through the girls' restroom. Might have to bore underneath that walkway to get underneath there, but to get a sewer line to it, but I'm pretty sure on that side of the street that there's a 10-inch main runs east and west right there and along the curb line. On the north side of Court Square. And like I say, the power is right there too, so we should be able to tap into that.
What's across the board?
How big's a gray suit? It depends on who has it, City has a boring machine, I don't know how big they can bore, but
want the Parks Board to put it on their agenda for Tuesday for the location. Or Thursday, I'm sorry, not Tuesday, Thursday.
I can talk to Dave tomorrow about make sure where the water main is, and I can talk to Colby and Clint, see about the electric, just make sure that I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and we have city maps here too.
No, I'm okay with the location, just as long as everything.
So we can continue, none of the information we're receiving or questions that we still need answered or would change our opinion about a location decision. If they proceed with voting on what location they want it to be in, bring it back to us, next meeting is when we can decide further decisions that need to be made for the process.
I have a silly question. Seeing as how we found out that the Parks Board has jurisdiction on where this will go, do the Park Boards also have jurisdiction on whether we rebuild the shelter house or not?
I believe so.
Okay, no, I mean.
My interpretation.
And I mean, if they wanna rebuild it, and how do they want it rebuilt? I mean, do they want it
No
back to what
expert,
was there?
that would be my interpretation
Okay,
of
so
what
like
it says.
I say, you know,
Tackle that project next. Okay, any other?
We're not doing anything with that, we don't need any.
Chrissy, you'll schedule the park board meeting, we don't typically have a scheduled meeting, so somebody's gonna have to reach out.
Well, I thought Brandy said it was gonna be this Thursday.
Yeah,
Is she?
7:30.
Okay.
7:30
remember.
Thursday.
It's tough to get it.
Is Russ here? Russ Jurgens here? No. Then we're gonna have to move to push that back to next time. Somebody wanna move to push the action on the golf course and Prairie State signage
I'll make
back
that
to next
motion.
week? Do we? We're gonna skip the signage?
Well, there's a bullet point in front of that. What I was asking is, do you wanna rearrange
Oh,
our
I'm
bullet
sorry.
points to
I'm sorry.
be
I
respectful?
missed that.
Okay.
But everything under this heading can be, it doesn't necessarily matter which order, but go on, go ahead, it's fine.
I don't think it'll take long,
Okay.
we're skipping the one, I think,
So we'll go.
Sorry,
city.
I missed it. Contracts for city attorneys. Cody, did you put that on there?
yeah, I just
All right.
feel like we should get,
You want something in writing?
I want to see what is out there, that we can look at,
Okay.
Related to like,
a city attorney.
For contracts for a city attorney.
you're stating like their hourly rate for different categories or usages or.
Or a lawyer on retainer, or a lawyer to come to our meetings to help us through the things that we have questions on during the meetings. Just, who's out there that specializes in municipalities and law. Reach out to some of the other communities around and see who they use and who they suggest. Putting an ad out there saying that we're looking what our options are,
An ad in the newspaper?
Wherever you.
Or I
or
don't know.
wherever
I'm
you
just,
I don't know, I don't know where you advertise
I don't
that
either.
at.
I don't either.
And there's a few other things down there, I don't know where you advertise that, but
Yeah. I don't
we
know
need
either.
to find that out.
Is it something that we've asked anyone that we utilized, like the three that are listed on our resolution, that they would be interested, like, I don't know much about obviously the Ford Dodge and Denali one, or
Yeah,
those other
no, I
two.
just mean, we don't have a contract with any of them, they need to present to us what they can offer us.
give us more of a hands-on approach or being like here for different meetings and helping draft certain things, then we would go and use an outside resource that might be more apt for that. Is that something we'll ask Laura to head up when we get back, or how do you wanna proceed with it?
Committee, or I don't know how you wanna do that.
Say that's probably something when she gets back to have her handle.
What's that deal with, it's a city municipality, newsletter?
Is there a website or something?
IAMU.
No, I can't say it. I want.
I think there's some websites or something for stuff like that.
I'm sure the league would have contacts for different attorneys for this too.
It's Iowa Association of History.
There you go.
I will make a motion to
Have Laura look into it?
get
more
yes, sir,
information?
Get that out there that we are looking for options. When we figure out where we, if it's the advertising on that or Iowa Municipal Utilities, they do wherever we need, wherever we can.
And I bet the League of Cities would be tremendous help on that.
So you made a motion for that, I'll second that motion.
Cody and. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now, Russ is not here.
I will make a motion to push that
Table it.
table, please. Yes.
Dewey, do I have a second?
We'll second that.
Cody? All in favor?
Okay.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, discuss possible action regarding collaboration between the city, PAC school district, and local recreation programs. What do we got going there?
Good afternoon, everybody. We have the full PR committee from the school board here, myself, Dina Hudson, and Dustin Thompson. Quick and small, it's right behind me. Mr. Bowley had another meeting. He is on his way up. As soon as that wraps up, he may or may not get here before we're done. First, I want to this is a follow-up to the last meeting. When we came to speak to you at public comment due to public meeting law, you guys weren't allowed to interact. We don't have anything new to add. We just wanted to have the conversation if you guys had any questions. So just kind of start from the statement we gave you last time. Did you guys have any questions about the statement I read on 3.2?
Have you met, has our park board met with the rooms already?
I believe they have, but they're here. I'll let them speak to that.
Yeah, so, Judd Nielsen, by the way, I'm not officially a part of the Parks and Rec board, but, myself, Andrew Millman, and Danielle Reeves for the last 3 years, 2.5 years, have done the summer rec stuff for baseball and softball. So, we, did meet with, a couple representatives from Lorenz, including their principal, their elementary principal, and, Hillary Reed, which would be, I don't know her official title over there, but somehow affiliated with summer rec, over there, just to kind of talk about some history and kind of the meeting that I believe that either some city council members and the school board or just the school board had last August. So
What came out of that meeting?
a little bit of confusion, I would say, a little bit. I think there are some promising notes with possible opportunities, but overall it's kind of just brainstorming, I guess I would say, brainstorming of where we want this to go and kind of throwing some stuff at the wall to see how we can accomplish that a little bit. The one thing that our summer rec board has kind of talked about too is throwing a few ideas at the wall this year, whether it's scrimmages or things like that, or we're kind of focusing on maybe our coach pitch and t-ball stuff a little bit more, because we've already kind of made a commitment to Emmitsburg, and I believe Lorenz has already made a commitment to Storm Lake. But like I said, it's kind of just preliminary conversations, requested by them to meet with us, and then the school board has also been involved with that too. So
Basically, you put that out there that Lorenz could.
we didn't put it out there. They approached us about it because of the meeting that happened last August, where they kind of talked about that a little bit too. So
They're wanting to go that way, and you guys are wanting to go that way, so.
precisely, yeah. I mean, I think they're comfortable with what they've done in Storm Lake over the last several years. Just give you a little history. We've been in the Humboldt League the last 2 years, but ever since my kids, my oldest is an 8th grader right now, has been in summer rec. The 2 years before that, they've been Emmitsburg. So that's kind of like, we tried out the Humboldt League because people were talking about some different things. We got some feedback from community members about price points of what it took for us to be in the Emmitsburg League. After a little more research, not all that information was completely accurate. And so we wanted to try back out with Emmitsburg again because we received some other feedback about, not playing a variety of teams at Humboldt and things of that matter. So
Basically, until both towns can agree to go to the same league, really not a lot we can do this year.
Not this year, but it's also a lot we talked about. It's not just 2 towns. There's a lot of other towns involved because it's Pocahontas area, and you have Palmroy, Plover, Havelock, Lorenz. What's the other one? Rolfe. So once we go out to one, how are those communities all going to react? Are they going to want more? And that's what we've been talking about now. We have to figure that out because it's not just one town. It affects a lot. And the
So
travel time of a lot more people than we're thinking. And
Does this mean that the Pocahontas kids will go to Emmitsburg, or does this mean that the different teams will play each other that are in this group?
yeah, so what happens then is it's kind of like how we do soccer league here. Like Pocahontas runs the soccer league here, and we kind of do the scheduling for other towns that are participating in the Pocahontas league. Now Pocahontas doesn't have a summer rec league, so we have joined Humboldt the last 2 years, and then several years prior to that, we have been a part of the Emmitsburg League. Now, what that means is, we'll send teams up there. Emmitsburg will send teams down here, as well as like Rettinger Terrell and Algona and all those other schools up there too in towns. So,
But it's still the Pocahontas teams playing Emmitsburg teams.
yes, yep.
And whoever else happens to be in the group?
Whoever's affiliated, yeah. Kind of like what Lorenz does as well too with Storm Lake and the plethora of teams, Newfoundland and all those guys too.
So basically, that's like your conference.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, but our conference is very large, as you know. But I think there's a good mix in both leagues. Where if they're in Storm Lake, they're going to play some of our inter-conference league teams that we play throughout middle school, high school, as well as Emmitsburg's league does that as well too. So.
Does Lorenz want to use their facilities for part of the games and part of the Pocahontas?
Yeah, I don't really want to speak on, like I said, I'm not a representative for them, but that was some of the conversations we had was they have some facilities over there that have been used the last couple of years and have been kind of updated, but that was kind of their thinking was depending on how much we mix together, play some games over there, play some games over here, and kind of just be creative to kind of get the kids involved at a younger age together, I guess would be the thing. But where we kind of talked about too as a summer rec board too is like Millman said was it's a lot of towns. I mean it's as a summer rec board, our main mission is we want to make sure the kids have fun, they're learning fundamentals, right? And also, I mean, if we're going to do it for one town, we probably got to do it for Pocahontas area.
Somebody needs to take the reins and say we're going to do the whole area, not just.
So, let me ask this, and if you two from previous conversations may have the answer, but from my understanding, you guys are not a division of the city per se, as far as like the rec, the different rec committees. Like, as a council, we don't really have any pull over you or sway in your decisions of any sort.
Maybe that's something Jeff or somebody from the Parks and Rec can kind of answer that too. We're on a volunteer basis.
we don't know. We took this over because the person was stepping down. I mean, we had no idea what we were doing when we came in. So all this is kind of just made it that much more right now.
Historically, the park board doesn't get involved in the summer rec stuff. I mean,
You know, the ballpark and everything,
Right,
Falls under
our
us.
city
Falls under us.
facilities,
Yeah.
yeah.
and originally, I think, a bunch of parents, when we built them, a couple of the one new ball field down there, and, we ran the concession stand and made enough money to sustain the whole thing, and bought all the batting cages and everything. But since then, like the middle school has their own team, so the numbers dwindled, they're not playing down there, so, I think it kinda got, yeah.
And I would say over the last 3 years, our numbers are starting to increase again. But yeah, it's kind of a partnership down there. I mean, to be honest with you, middle school baseball plays down there. I'm not sure if Badgers and Bales practices down there, plays down there. I'm not really affiliated with them. Yeah, it's kind of a hodgepodge. And Craig, is that what your name is? Yeah. We've been solely based and running off of concession stand stuff. Laura has done an excellent job this year and last year, kind of applying for some grants. So some of the new things you see down there would have been from grants. I do believe the city has helped out with some other things too, whether it was the batting cages or the shed that was put down there, just to kind of clean up the aesthetic and stuff like that. But a lot of it is just ran off of concession stand, and it's not a big money maker by any means,
But
as you
see,
guys
it
know.
used to be, we'd have, probably 6 games down there every night. Now, it's nothing close to that.
No.
We have 134 kids currently signed up for this year, T-ball through 6th grade. So.
Would be, I mean, a question as far as, I think everybody interacting together and supporting each other with the 3 different and 4 really different entities represented, how we can support each other, because with the little one super excited about playing baseball, coming up and starting soccer, what makes the most sense for all the different rec departments, because I know money's tight, and so if soccer and baseball and NYFL football, if that's still our flag football, if you're all buying different sets of cones, but you're not using them at the same time, how can we kind of support you and make everyone running as efficiently as possible, and what does that partnership look like?
Yeah, and like I said too, it's like I don't have children besides soccer. I've never been a part of the soccer rec board or anything like that, but I'm assuming that's kind of the same situation, right? Soccer rec is their own entity, along with like football and flag football. And this is my first time really doing anything like this. I'm not really sure what other towns do, but I think it'd be something awesome to see is there some type of youth sports board, where everybody's together and working on some of those things. So we're not having to double dip on equipment, or, I don't know. It just, there's been some weird conversations about that, and I don't really know the best answer, I guess.
I have a question for you. How many towns are actually coming here? Because Rolf's been coming here anyway.
Yeah.
So is Palmer.
Pomeroy have.
So the only school that's not coming here is Lorenz. That's in our.
And that's not 100% accurate either. Like, the last 3 years, we probably had, excuse my unpaid pun, but like 6 or 7 kids from Lorenz that are showing up. And like I can get you the numbers if you want me to real quick on the sign-up sheets, but I think we had like maybe 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 this year from Lorenz. So yeah, so Lorenz, Pomeroy. I do believe some Palmer, I don't know, Dustin, if you can back me up on that. Some maybe go to Manson sometimes. I'm not 100% sure on that either, but
I think so.
But for the majority, yeah, you're going to get your Havelock kids, your Rolf kids, your Pocahontas kids, a few Lorenz kids, and then this is really the first time, a couple weeks ago that we had that conversation with Lorenz. So, and I to be honest, I didn't really know what they did. I just knew that we gave forms over there, and we'd have a few kids come in and want to play with this league as well too. So,
I think to Craig's point, that Lorenz is the only city in our district who has a competing league of their own.
Right.
And yes, some of them come here, but they do. They're the only one who has a competing league.
And we've been in several. We've been in the Algona League, and when we had Pony League, we were playing like probably 30 games a year. And that's why our concession stand did so well, because there's people coming from out of town that are hungry all the time. For long.
yeah.
Now,
I wish Danielle was here too, because I think we made a profit last year compared to what we did in the past too,
It was
just
a
from
lot
traffic.
better.
And,
Well, there was no one paid to run it this year. In the past, they tried to pay someone, which ate most of the profit. This year, it was all pretty
volunteer
much
based.
families relying on people to volunteer and do it, or our wives and stuff doing it. So
So all your fundage comes from concessions and maybe registration?
Donations, I
And
mean,
maybe
bags,
the city will
sponsors.
help with.
Yeah, the business sponsors on the fence gives us a little boost.
Well, like the baseball field we built down there, there was that John Ike's
Yep.
scholarship, and I wrote a grant for that, and we got that.
And that's what
And then the tennis
new
courts and
batting
the,
cage.
and the basketball courts were the same thing, we got that money
Mhm.
from the funds. But that's, you know, back then, the interest rates were like 10% on CDs and stuff, so we use the income off them, but the income off the funds that are aren't as much.
Okay.
But it has to be, there's an orphanage trust that the money has to be used for kids in the town area or whatever, and that's what we've been.
I wonder
Right.
if, being an entity of the city in some capacity would make you more eligible for certain grants. I don't know per se, and I don't know, there's probably pros and cons to.
I'm probably the
that
last person
decision.
you want to ask that question.
Yeah.
'Cause
I haven't done
I will
any-
say I know
any
this
research
year
into it.
Laura has done a lot for
I
that.
think,
Yeah.
don't we run the insurance through the city though?
Yes.
Yeah, because the kids are playing on our
That would assume so,
properties
yeah.
or whatever.
Sure.
So that's what I was asking. I asked Pomeroy what we did, and I ran that thing a couple of years when I was younger. And we had a budget set up for just the rec, which is no longer because our children come up here and athletes and play. I'm just trying to, my mind's trying to figure out how you go to the different towns and pick up maybe some rec funds because we are using the facilities up here.
Basically, you'd have to go to the town, and the town would have to agree that, yes, we're gonna go with Pocahontas.
I think we're all,
As of right now, it's just the parents are bringing the kids to Pocahontas to play on the Pocahontas.
seemed like there was
team.
something with Roth at one time where they were gonna quit doing that, and they're gonna give us some money or something.
Which makes sense to me, but maybe I'm thinking wrong too.
I know when we met last fall.
Equipment fund or whatever,
Yeah.
That's the hardest part, is keeping things up. I mean, there's a lot that is needed down there. A lot of money to replace bags, bats, balls, I mean, the things you need every year, so.
I know the council had some questions for us last year that we didn't know the answer to, like how much you guys were spending, how much Lorenz was spending. Did find out in the recent conversations, Lorenz is the same here, that the council, or the concessions is what funds their summer program. And they would be here to represent themselves today, but their rec board is also on their city council, and they have a meeting at the same time tonight. So we did invite them so that we could all have the conversation together, but there was just that scheduled conflict.
I was gonna say, where do we wanna go from here, as far as like getting everyone's kind of vision together and, sourcing these ideas out and working through everything, what's the next step in that process?
I would think you'd wanna try to get them eventually, because they're all gonna be playing together anyway, so you might as well start.
Like I said, I think it's a great idea, I just don't know how to get it all
Yeah.
together.
There's lots of steps in it.
The only thing I could see is just like, somebody said about if the city would actually make a, what do you call it?
Committee or.
Youth
yeah,
sports board,
Rec board.
Instead of youth
a rec
sports
board
board.
or a youth sports board or
Yeah.
something like that would be something probably to,
And that would cover summer rec, soccer, MYFL,
Yeah.
all the youth sports
all
there.
of them together.
At least get everyone to know everyone.
Exactly.
Be
Yeah.
able to facilitate communication, if not.
And that person, there'd be one from each town in the district, is that correct? For that board?
a lot more talking.
I think it'd be, yeah, I think it'd be ideally we start within our own city and get things a little more streamlined and then be able to make those connections with the surrounding cities to.
I mean, for this year, it sounds like we've pretty much agreed that things are gonna stay the way they are. We had another conversation Friday. We're gonna try to play some games, do some scrimmages, things like that. But with both of us committed, our rosters and everything are already in. They agreed to maybe try something with the younger kids that aren't in a league this year to get them together more, get some things going, and then kind of try to build off that into next year to see where we wanna go. So. But
What's the plan postseason for your rec board and their rec board to define a plan for next year. So if you're gonna be combined as one, is that gonna be one rec board? Is that gonna be two rec boards having separate conversations and then trying to vote? How do you guys see that playing out? And when are you going to reconnect?
Well, that's gonna be the hard part, cause like we talked, you're gonna have to add all the other towns into it, right? Cause they're all gonna be, once they find out we're going somewhere else, I guarantee it's gonna get brought up and they're all gonna want in on that also. So I don't know how you do all that, I don't.
Rec board's got them together. One site can't force it.
But then, like we said, I mean, where's the money gonna come from? Cause right now, most of it comes from concessions, so if you're playing games all over, now we don't have people coming here. So the city's gonna have to step up a little bit to try to fund.
Now Lorenz did say that if you combined, all their concessions would go to that one fund, and they have a much bigger, broader concession, and their dollars on concessions are much larger than ours. You'll actually gain funds by joining? Is there any reason that that's incorrect?
And that information wasn't given to us either. Like I said, we
don't know
haven't
what
talked
they
to them
made.
about
Are
that
you
either.
only throwing the money
We
in?
talked about that Tuesday night when we were all together.
We did, but
We
their
did.
pool money and stuff like that's not coming in. They did say their concession they would do, but is it, I mean, I can't imagine they're throwing all that in,
Not their swimming pool money, their concession money.
which is connected to their swimming pool.
Okay. So, again, they brought those things up. If we let them go, we don't act on it, when we come together next fall, we're gonna have all the same problems.
And we just said that we were gonna try to throw a couple things at the wall to make it stick this year, right? And try a couple things, but then, like you said, I don't wanna make a decision right now of how that rec board is gonna look. Like Cody said, it's gonna be people coming together, it's gonna be people talking, and at the end of the season, when they're done with Storm Lake, we're done with Emmitsburg, we come together as a group, we talk about it.
So
I
we
don't think there's
talked
really
about-
anything to be done about it right now.
Who is the rec board for Pocahontas right now?
For summer rec,
Yeah, each sport has their
Her-
own
Has their own,
committees.
okay.
Yeah.
Do we need one entity for all of these youth sports?
That's what we just talked about.
That's it, yeah, it could be
Okay.
a representative of,
I'm getting there, Cody, thank you.
a representative of a city member of some sort.
Okay, so
one
what
of
I'm
each
saying is our
community.
next step should be to get a representative from every one of those rec boards to come together, and starting now is not too early for next year. I mean, even though it is a year away, beginning now is not, any too soon, I don't believe.
I think the other thing that you'll have to do with that too is, like Millman alluded to, is, town representation on that board. Is, we're Pocahontas area is the big thing. It's not just Pocahontas, so if it's 5 Pocahontas parents from football, baseball, and soccer, that would then be defeating the purpose again of doing that.
Well, I know soccer's got parents from multiple towns.
Right.
So
Right.
they're already kind of
Yeah.
doing that,
So like Tony was saying earlier, like the structure of that, I don't have an answer for that right now. But I think it's got to be a combination of a lot of bodies in the room and all focus on the same goal would be the thing. So
I think if you start with a committee of the administrative side of that, where you have a member of each of the rec departments, a member of the city, a member of probably the Parks Board, and being able to consolidate that into a handful of people, you can then go out and reach out to your community members, your parents, your other towns, and have those conversations, but then, again, condense it all to one vision for what's best for Pocahontas, and then looking forward to what's best for, working with the school in the area and the surrounding communities.
We even had a conversation after this year's over, could we do a possible vote with Lorenz and Pocahontas area to see where people wanna play at?
Yeah.
To see if Lorenz does wanna stay in Storm Lake, if they wanna go to Emmitsburg, if there's something different we don't even know about. Instead of 3-4 people making a decision where everyone's playing it. Let the community decide where they wanna go, where they wanna travel to. Some people don't wanna travel at all, some people do.
Well, a lot of people, in rural Iowa, they work on the opposite side of the county that they live in, that may inflect in their decision on where they wanna play after work and stuff like that too, so.
So when you're trying to let 3-4 people make a decision, that doesn't always work either. I mean, you gotta let.
You used to raise money from the signs.
We do, yeah, that was one of the donations from that, the signs that hang on the fence, yeah.
I don't
In
know if
Lorenz.
This is something I can really make a motion on, but to next meeting have a committee formed to start talking about that. I think that's about all we can talk about for today.
So Cody's making a motion
We can't do that because
It isn't really a,
we gotta put it on
And
the
it's our
next agenda.
decision to do it, so.
so,
To get that put on, I would like to have that on the next agenda, to have a committee.
so are we tabling this particular thing, or are we just gonna have Kyle put it on the next agenda?
Basically, we're not doing anything.
Right.
Okay,
We're just moving on. No, there's nothing to vote on.
nothing to vote on.
I did have one other comment I wanted to make, and I should have started there too, but, to the rec board, they didn't hear about this at all until they sent invitations to Lorenz, unaware of the school's conversations with this city council over to Lorenz City Council last year, and the turnover here. So to you guys, I apologize for the short notice and the feeling of pressure that came with that and a couple-year-old conversations. So, thank you for the conversation you had this week, move that forward. Look forward to hearing what happens after the consolidation committee's formed. If there's anything the schools can do to support, facilitate, help that. One of the things that we did talk about, and we generally provide for any sport or activity that funneled up to a varsity version, we can have coaches work with high school players to help provide some guidance and enthusiasm to the youth programs. Whether that's officials, coaching, just have them show up at your practices, whatever. Any of the rec programs with us, or the varsity programs will support in every way they can.
Do the 7th and 8th graders, baseball player from Lorenz come over here?
They technically do, yes. So if they're in our middle school and play sports, then they're part of the Lorenz Marathon program. One of the things that we were talking about, and this is where we have some open enrollment numbers, and this is just a small piece of it, but if the kids form those bonds in youth sports and they feel like they're part of that other team, they end up over there, they're not part of our school, so they're not part of our middle school.
All right, are we moving on?
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much. All right. Discuss approve creation of fire station planning committee. This is requested by the fire department. Fire department got anything they wanna say ahead of making the committee?
Just wanna keep the ball rolling on what we're gonna do at the station.
And the
Whether it's
first
adding
step, I
on,
think,
that's
is getting a committee together. Any volunteers?
I don't have to, I can vote on a station, I'm not gonna vote on the next one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was thinking it, but I hadn't got it out there yet.
I had verified as far as my involvement with, fire station with, the Iowa League during our MLA training, and they said as long as it's not a financial gain or any sort of that, there's no.
Yeah, financial gain is the big kicker.
Yeah.
So Nicole wants to be on there. Anybody else? Wes. I would like to be, included. I won't be a, what shall I say, voting member, so to speak, but I would like to be included in, some of that stuff.
Council's on the votes.
I know. I mean, but I would just still like to be
The committee
included.
can't really make
Any
Any
decision.
decision's gotta
But I
come from
mean, I
council.
wanna just sort of be included, because this is,
And we all should have our needs.
yes, very important to this community. I've had a fire, sorry. Kind of. So do we need a motion to,
I will make a motion to create a fire station planning committee with Nicole and Wes as volunteers.
so Dewey, anybody want a second? Grover, second. All in favor?
Right.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Discuss approve resolution 1226. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
This is, I know Christie and the officers have, chatted with, what's his name? Representative, for Lincoln Financial. There is a state program, it's called LoSAP, Length of Service Award Program. And so it is basically a retirement fund where the state will match, up to, so as long as their budget is under 100,000 annually, not including capital improvement lines, the state will put in $3 for every $1 the city contributes, up to $500 per roster member. Their max roster number is 31. Right now they have 26.
26, 24, I think 24, isn't it? There's 6 of them.
Around that number. That figures out, I know Laura was doing the math as far as their budgeting goes. It's like $167 per member
$167 per member.
of city contribution. So it'd be like around 5,000 annually if they had a max 31 member roster active. That would come out of the budget. It's around $5,000 on our part, and then $3 to our $1, so $15,000-ish we would get in that grant money. And everything is into their individual retirement accounts through this Lincoln Financial.
And this would start at day one, it doesn't go back for like what they've been on.
Correct. And so then the fund.
It doesn't open up till probably August again. It's closed right now, so.
Them as a department would have to apply for this grant program, hopefully get approved, and then those funds would start taking place. But those funds are then, it's not just like anyone on the department is gonna automatically get up to the $500. Their officers
It'd be a
would sit
point
down
system. It'd be a point system, keeps people active. You get so many points per meeting, per call. Just to keep people active and showing
entice
up and
them to come.
enticing people to get on as well.
Numbers up in the department.
Yeah.
So we would have to budget around $5,000
Extra.
Annually into the department budget, the fire department budget.
I don't either, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
where to get it.
I,
So do we have, if we were to approve this, basically all we're doing is approving.
That they can apply when it comes
Apply.
open, and then obviously in that resolution, so basically it's templated off of a template that LoSAP already gives you. But it says that we grant them the ability to apply, that if they were to get accepted, we would match our portion of that fund, and get those, accounts established.
and they need this resolution in order to even get started, correct?
Yeah, in order to apply. They need the city to be able to say.
But they have to apply before August.
So originally their application, the first application was due at the end of February.
End of February, but we didn't get it.
It wasn't
to
on
you
the
guys in
agenda
time,
so the next time the application opens and closes is August for them to be able to apply.
So technically your point system won't start until after August if you're
Right,
approved?
right. It essentially be for next year.
So technically, we gotta get $5,000 in the budget first.
In this fiscal year budget, yes. And the way that Laura had reworked the budget, that was acceptable. The last time she printed off a sheet for
Yeah.
them and us.
So really voting today or voting after our next budget meeting doesn't make any difference.
As far as timeline goes, no, not
No,
necessarily.
because it's not open right now anyway, so if you wait till,
If you wanna wait, that's great.
because we can apply, but it ain't gonna go into,
Correct.
they don't
Right.
look at it till
Just
August.
establishing the program, but if you wanna wait, that's fine, but we're gonna have to get it done. I would say
We'd like to see it done by like July, so we can get everything rolling.
Because you're
There's a
gonna
lot of
have to
paperwork
get
we
your
gotta
point
do.
system figured out,
Yeah,
you're gonna have to
yeah.
get somebody who's gonna be on top of that.
Each member has to put on like when they first joined, and so for those that have been on for quite
It's
a few
gonna take a
decades,
while.
it's, yeah, nailing down that
We
information
got
is a
all
little
that
difficult.
already,
We
pretty
got all
much.
that put together.
Oh, awesome.
But it doesn't go back to when you got on. They just have to know when you got
They
on.
just wanna know when you did get on.
Can I make a motion to table this until our next meeting?
Well,
Or,
Hang on.
we're just establishing the program.
no, that's what I mean. Do you,
Why don't we just vote on it and get it
Okay.
over with?
okay, I'm all for that, I think it's a great
I mean,
idea.
But you said, once we establish this, that then they can apply. But once we apply, they have to.
But what I will say, and I think this is where you're going with that question, is that by accepting this resolution, Grover is correct in that we're saying that we will establish this program in those accounts. I wrote the resolution specifically so that there's not a dollar amount attached to it. So just because max contribution would be our $1 and the grant would be $3, doesn't necessarily mean that's exactly what we have to give. Just the max that we would or could give would be $5,000. So we could approve this resolution tonight, and then we'll set dollar amounts or have that discussion later on down the road.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Grover, you want a motion then?
I'll make a motion to accept this program.
I'll second that.
Grover and Cody.
I'm gonna recuse myself from this though.
Do you need to make sure to note that,
As you said, it's not,
she has to abstain.
there's no money,
Nicole has to
money,
abstain.
so you're just establishing the program.
I feel like it's a gray area because we're establishing a program to get paid, so I'll just take myself out.
You're better off doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we got our motion and we got our second. All in favor?
No, roll call.
Oh, this one's a roll call, sorry. I'm gonna roll call this one. Van Dong?
Aye.
DeWall?
Aye.
Stover?
Aye.
Flaherty?
Aye.
Motion carried. So you have your resolution. I think I can get this signed. Kyle and I can sign it, and you guys can get a copy of it yet tonight if you
Perfect.
want.
That'll work.
Does that work
Thanks,
for you,
guys.
Kyle? Okay, now we're going to discuss resolution 1326. The city employee handbook parental leave policy. We've got, two young guys having babies that would like to be able to take some time. Did you guys?
Is there, no, because I didn't get a packet, so, but anyway. But, you know, so my question is there a state law that we have to follow?
Not from what I found. I did some research myself.
There's
And,
no federal or state law that you have to follow that thing. I mean, employee, maternal leave or whatever it is.
I know what you're asking.
You don't qualify for FMLA as a city since we don't have over 50 employees. So as far as FMLA, like, we don't meet those stipulations. I know in our handbook, it references Iowa Code Chapter 216. I looked over that a little bit. And it says, like, if you do qualify for FMLA, you have to follow that. And then it's recommended that cities smaller than that mimic those policies to the best of their ability that doesn't cost them harm.
Okay, so then my next question is how long is the leave?
Okay, I'm gonna read that to you here real quick. Let me find it on here.
Right now, in our current handbook, it's,
Sorry, that's the wrong one.
for any full-time regular, part-time regular employees, unpaid leave of absence, up to 8 weeks, I believe. But it's only under maternal leave as the heading. And so it's for like any employees, they call it a disability that is obtained from pregnancy or childbirth. That's what the handbook currently is stating. Proposed in the resolution and the new policy would just be a heading as parental leave so that it's not specific. And that it would mimic still the maternal that's already in there, but any other supporting parent could go up to 4 weeks unpaid.
It's unpaid leave. Okay.
It is, technically it's unpaid leave because that's what, FMLA does not actually pay you, nothing actually pays you, you can use your sick time.
Okay.
To be gone for that, like these guys can be gone for up to 4 weeks. It does also state, and I don't remember if it stated it in here, that it does not have to all be used at once.
Okay.
That they can take a week on, a week off, a week on, a week off.
But it has to be used within the first 12 months of
Yes.
the child's
And
life.
we're not giving any more sick time, we're just letting them use their sick time.
Correct.
For parenthood.
Whatever they would normally acquire while they're off being sick, yes, they get that. But they have to use, if they wanna get paid, they have to use sick time, vacation, PTO, whatever it is, however you guys call it.
And I know this, they can't qualify for like short-term disability use, that like an Aflac account or anything.
Not, I don't think on maternity it
Okay.
works.
I don't know.
I don't think, that's a very good
I'll
question
make a
though.
motion to approve this resolution for maternity leave.
As long as they're not getting paid that, okay. I will second that
There
motion.
isn't any extra payment that anybody's gonna get, they just have to use whatever they
Yeah,
got.
okay, I will second the
Okay.
motion.
Okay, so we've got Cody and Dewey, and a roll call vote. Harrison? Aye. Flaherty?
Aye.
DeWall? Stover? And Don? Motion carried. Discuss approved policy for city purchases at local businesses. I don't know where that came from, so
That was part of the discussion you had asked to be put on the next agenda when we talked about certain bills from Woods a few weeks ago.
it's been several weeks.
So I just took
And
it
that's good.
to type up a policy. We couldn't find, Kyle and I couldn't find one. We were kind of instructed to look in the handbook. I couldn't find anything in the handbook related to that. So this is pretty much just a standardized, the expectation if you charge the city account.
You should have to sign the ticket, whatever you're buying, you should have to sign the ticket.
And the big thing here is that, you need to submit a receipt to City Hall within, I think,
Copy of that receipt at the very least.
5
needs to come to
business
City
days.
Hall.
We used to have the receipt, bring it to Joan, and then Joan said that sometimes they were getting double bills and they were paying it twice, so she just said, like if you were getting something at Woods's, at Woods's it was cleaners or scrub pads, whatever it is, Same thing when you went to Farm and Home, if you
Right.
bought something at Farm and Home, you signed the tickets, they put down nuts and bolts and,
Yep.
so they knew what account to come out of.
Then it
But-
needs to be matched up when the
Right,
statement
but then only at
comes.
the end of the month, when she got that bill, then that was,
Yep.
she didn't have two sets
But
of papers.
I think what I meant for that, what I was kind of talking about for that at that time was, we need to purchase within the city first.
Yeah.
If you cannot get it within the city, then you go out of town. But I'd like to see, since we're getting tax money, it's the city people, city business people paying taxes, we need to support them too. I'd like to see that as much as possible.
You go to Farm and Home and you sign the pad.
Right.
Do you
Yep.
still have to sign a receipt and bring
No.
that in?
They can give you a copy of
But
that.
I'm asking, is that what this?
That's what the policy says that you need to present. Everywhere that I've worked, granted it's been bigger places, but if I am expecting to get reimbursed or I'm charging under an account, I have to bring an itemized receipt so that, like Christie
Yeah,
said, like if I go to Woods and I buy 2 bottles of cleaner, that prints a receipt out, I need to come bring it to City Hall within 5 days. That shows that they're getting a bill for $10.98 and my purchase was 2 bottles of cleaner that totaled up to $10.98, because not that we don't trust anyone, but it is very easy to throw a bottle of pop on or something like that, and that would be
No,
But,
an illegal use of funds, the
but
taxpayer
they're,
funds.
but they're signing their name when they write the sign their name? Are you making them, when they order something online, to print off that receipt, sign it, and bring it in and say you'll be getting a bill in the mail for this?
Well, that's already happening. I mean, those are the bills that we're getting, like, the
I
bills
know,
we get there.
but they're getting it in the mail. That bill from the grocery store is coming in the mail, and they're gonna pay it, and their name is already signed on that receipt.
Well, we had asked Laura if she could account what the items were on each of those charges that she's getting, and she said we can't figure that out.
But I mean, when I get my receipt from the grocery store, every charge I made, I get the receipt. It comes in the mail, my signature is on that.
I mean, if that is the case, then yeah, this is redundant, but based on that conversation that happened last time, we didn't know what those
In your
were.
orders, Cody, if we bought something, like say I bought something from, called Share, and I needed, spray paint, green spray paint, I ordered a case of green, inverted spray paint, I run it on a purchase order, and then you would put down that you bought it from Share, what you bought, what the price was, you signed the thing, and you brought it up here, give it to the girls at City Hall, and then when that bill came in, they attached it to that purchase order.
Do they have are they using purchase orders that you know of?
I don't know. I do know that they're putting their names, like their name is on the receipt and what
I
it is.
still have purchase orders, I used them up till the day I quit, but none of the other departments were using them. Maybe Rickles was yet, but I don't know, until.
If that's what we're gonna do, if you're gonna do that, you need to do it for every charge,
Yeah.
not just.
But I mean, it's kind of happening, with the bill that we get from the machine shop, right? And looking at those are all itemized Napa, those are all itemized. So if there's a way that we can get those just when the bill comes, that's one thing. But being able to account for that money.
I'm pretty sure you get the receipt
And then
with their signature on it.
The individual that's charging something gets a receipt when they are buying whatever they're buying. There's also a receipt that prints when you get the statement. So there is two receipts. And for instance, when I put them together, I match them up. And I don't pay for anything that I don't have a receipt for.
Okay, but yeah,
the last piece I was gonna put in there is that we also talked about, the meals when they're, having to do emergency work or remove snow and stuff like that, so I built that in there as far as the inception that,
So when you worked at the machine shop, how many receipts did you print out to send to the guys bring in?
I did not.
That's like-
You know Corey.
I know, that's what I mean.
Actually
Corey's
did.
not
Actually
gonna,
did.
Corey's
But
not
that's
gonna do
actually
that.
but that itemized,
But-
we're already getting itemized
Yes.
But
accounting
the invoice
from them.
itself is itemized, it's just not signed.
I mean, the Woods grocery store, you get the receipt that is signed, so
Absolutely,
I'm.
absolutely.
So I don't think there should need to be any changes, we need to make sure that is happening.
Exactly. That's a good way to put that. So we really don't need to do anything for that one either, we discussed it.
Just
We
table
I'll
need to
make
make
a
sure
motion
that-
to table it and confirm with Laura when she returns.
You wanna make the motion to table it? Nicole, and second by Cody. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Discuss possible action on process for updating city code of ordinances.
One of those things we gotta put out there.
We have to, this code of ordinances needs to be updated. There's just no two ways around that.
Do you know anything about the county?
Simmering and Corey, out of, I believe it's Storm Lake, they just, the county actually just signed up with them. It's been, I think it's, the county's is 7 years. And I just paid a down payment of $1,500 to them, and the estimated quote is $5,000 for the county, so I can't imagine that it's gonna be take us
or
on.
somebody else would take us on and what they would charge. So basically, we gotta put an ad out there. I don't know where that ad needs to go, but that's the same type of thing.
Yeah. I think just putting some feelers out to figure out what is out there for,
So I'll make a motion to do that.
I'm gonna say Cody's gonna make a motion to figure out,
Reach out to a
Reach out.
facility, yeah.
To facilitate.
companies that will do our code of ordinances.
And I will second the motion.
So Cody and Dewey,
Is there someone specific that's gonna head that up? I don't want it to just kind of sit stagnant because everyone else is working on this type of thing.
Or Paul or Kyle should do. You might need to, if you need help trying to
I was gonna say,
reach out to the league
yeah,
and see what's in front.
I will work with you on that, is that okay?
Yep.
So Kyle and I will look at the process for updating the city code of ordinances. And we got Cody and Dewey, so all in favor? Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Discuss possible action on reimbursing Alex Lou for personal costs related to city IT program. Is Alex here?
Yep.
Okay. Do you have any kind of a bill
I've
made
been asked to
up?
provide a bill, so I do not have one.
They don't provide a bill?
No, I said I don't have a bill to provide, I don't know what's gonna be covered and what's not gonna be covered.
Why is he
Well,
paying for
that's, so we need to know what,
Can you just talk about the things that are occurring out of your own personal pocket right now?
Yeah.
So like I said, I pay for the city, I pay for all the PD website stuff, which is about $400 every 3 years. I pay for both domain names for both the police department and the city, which is $60 for 3 years. I then also, besides then just the maintenance of it and making sure that all that's done. I also pay for the city SharePoint. This was all stuff that was done other than adding the city of Pokie IA emails. That was all done before the police chief always paid for it, so I've just always paid for it.
Is there a line item in the budget for that?
Well, there's a technology line, yes. There's an office supplies, there's always a line you can pull it out of.
No. So that's where it needs to come from.
if you've been paying for that out of your own pocket, let's, if you still want to pay for it and be reimbursed, that's wonderful. Or if you want the city to pay for it, is that what you're wanting?
Cody's the one that wanted the question answered.
You just said that
Yeah.
you have been paying for the email and you're not.
Right, and that's my thing and so then my commentary is given things, I'm always willing to maintain the police department side, that's easy. I'll pay for the police department side. What I'm saying is that either I can maintain the city side and then I wanna have, then as Cody's saying, he wants me reimbursed for that,
Absolutely.
which is fine. Or the city needs to find itself another home for its emails.
Right.
So however you guys wanna do that.
I use the email, it works for me.
Right.
It's easier to have me do it because again, you can call me like when Nicole had a problem. And if she has a problem in 3 o'clock in the morning, you can call me and I can fix it.
I wouldn't
That's
do
it.
that.
No,
I'm not gonna be on it 3 o'clock in the morning.
but right, but again, you get a pretty quick service on.
Do we need to reimburse you for this year? Or is it
I would say not for this, everything comes
Going
due in
forward.
November and August. I would say we just leave it right because I'm,
As going forward, we need,
yeah,
But
so,
going forward, can you give us some kind of, I don't know if can I say receipt?
oh yeah, there's a bill.
When you pay it, just get it
Is
to.
it easier for you to just continue to pay it and reimburse you?
That's how I would do it, because that's how everything is, anything we buy for the police department, I typically pay for and then submit them. Poor Kyle has to. And then I have to explain to Kyle, this is what this is. So, he knows where to take
so
it.
it would come out of that line item.
So going
When the
forward,
city paid for it.
Yeah, and that's fine, like I said, I mean, I haven't,
Okay,
It will come out of that line
Reimbursing
item.
money and that
Yeah,
might
we're
be
not,
where it
we're not, we don't have that line item on the thing and it's not being used, it's being coming out of that line item.
He is paying for himself right now.
Right.
It should be coming
it
out of
should
that
be
line
coming
item.
out of
Correct,
that.
that's
He
what I'm
will just
thinking.
give us a bill.
And then
we'll pay
we
the
would
bill,
take it out
and
of
it
that
will come
line
out of
item.
that line
Okay,
item.
okay, I'm all for that then.
Okay, so what I'm gonna ask for then is a motion to
I'm
pay
gonna ask one-
Alex going forward.
I'm gonna ask one more question that
Sure.
kind of merges into the next one. The way that things have been going, as far as like a time commitment of you managing this stuff, does it make sense for you to continue to manage it? Otherwise, the next discussion point that we're gonna have is IT management. So is it something that, are we making two decisions in one type of thing here?
I mean, you're correct in the fact that, and like Cody had said about getting me reimbursed for doing this extra stuff. I mean, obviously I know the system, obviously, I mean, until something is decided I can do that. I like doing it, it's kind of a good side hobby. It would be nice to be reimbursed for that, you know, and again, I could keep hours and totals and then you guys could approve whatever that work was. Because I know like even for Kyle, all of a sudden, you know, one morning, and I wasn't at work or whatever, and all of a sudden, my email's not working, and I went in there, and then I get to poke a little fun at him, because I'm like, well, you just gotta do this. But, you know, it is handier for the city to have me do it, just because, so, I mean, I'm willing to do that, I guess, is, you know, because, again, I can do it again 24/7. Besides the fact, I have the systems all set up, so the water computer, all those, I have the ability, so if anybody calls, they can say, so, that's fair. I mean, I guess if I'm being reimbursed, I would be willing to do it. So.
Could we get an estimate of a rate?
Yeah, I can do that. I mean, I don't have something right off the top of my head
Yeah,
right now, but
right.
it'd be obviously fair. I mean, it would be obviously
Because there's
That's
no
something we
reason
can
you
do.
shouldn't be reimbursed.
Right.
That's crazy if you're not.
right.
You should be.
So going into number 2, Nicole, yes, I'd be willing to do that. So let me solve 2 birds.
So shall we motion 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak?
Let's just do this first line as far as
Okay.
reimbursing the cost that we just saw. I'll make a motion to approve reimbursing Alex for the cost discussed that he's been paying out of his pocket related to city IT.
No.
I'll make a second.
Cody's
I was
gonna
moving
second.
on- I was moving on to the next one, alright.
I'm always behind, you're ahead. Okay, so, we got a first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Alright, now, information technology management for the city,
I will make a motion to table that.
you wanna table it? Until we get some more information from Alex,
Thank you, that's cost estimate.
okay?
I think we also need to expand that into looking previous discussions as far as website and social media management as well. And just kind of nail all that discussion down hopefully in one.
Because I still
Decision.
don't, I don't have that, general email thing that we all tried setting up.
You still don't have email?
Okay, I will work on that. I'll fix that, and then I just want to throw in there, and again, this kind of comes in, as you're thinking about that, not to distort the motion, but again, the other side is, you know, I was also willing to work on the camera system and trying to get that set up, because I know the system and I'm already, you know, I know it. So that would be, I would quote you something with all of that included.
Okay. That makes sense.
But are you willing to work on the website, or is that something we'll have to?
When I get you the rate, I'm gonna think about that one, because I know why Nicole is smiling at me too, because that one is that's
That one's a little
more.
tougher.
Not that I haven't done it before, but let me make sure on that one, but yes, possibly.
Okay, so Cody is motioning to table the information technology management for the city. Do I have a second? Dewey's gonna second. Well, table it to put into old business, and then we should have, more information at that time.
Yeah, cause we'll get from Alex first before we
Right.
decide if we're
Right.
gonna do anything.
Right. Okay, now we need to,
Was there a second?
oh,
Can we
didn't I
all-
do that?
all in favor?
Second? I did
thought I
that.
seconded it.
You seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No? Motion carried. Discuss approved date for a budget workshop. I have not been able to get with Kyle yet to see if we can figure that out, to get reports for,
We said that
us to work on.
budget would be adopted on the sixth, the public hearing would be the sixth. In order to get it to the public in the paper, in the newspaper on the 31st, we would need to get that information to the paper on the 26th, which basically leaves us a week and a half to get our numbers nailed down.
Right.
10 days, yeah.
We have till April 30th,
So do we wanna,
to the state.
right,
To
do we
the
wanna
state.
look at potentially moving that April 6th as far as, we have to have the,
So when do we have to have it to the paper by?
if we're going to approve the final budget on the 6th, we would need it to the paper by March 26th.
I don't think there's enough time.
And if we don't have access to the budget until Laura potentially gets back, you're looking at making that decision in 3 days. So I'm thinking,
I don't like these 2 and 3 day decisions.
I don't
on things, and like I said, I would still like to see a treasurer's report of how much money is there, how much money is actually there, but what has been earmarked for higher projects, what do we have in reserve? I mean, you just can't say there's $6 million in reserve, but $3 million of it is spoken for.
Earmarked for
Earmarked.
something else, yeah.
Until I see them, I'm not gonna vote on any possible approving of a new budget.
so we have to have that one special meeting, which I'm gonna, I forget, like the tax levy meeting essentially. I don't know what the exact definition or terminology is there.
The one where we have to have a meeting and have it.
Yeah, we had set up the two special, the first one was that tax levy, I believe, and the second one was the budget adoption.
The date for those were,
I think the tax levy had to be done by, I have to go look at that, April 15th or something like that. But yeah, the budget doesn't have to be done until April 31st, right, or 30th, 31st, 30th, at least 31st.
but we,
I've got April
Basically, that
6th.
budget adoption, I don't think we're gonna make at this point. We do have leeway to push it back.
Yes.
So if we wanted to just go ahead and say, hey, let's work, we need to set a budget workshop, no matter what we do with the date. But we can just say, we're not having that second special meeting on the 6th, we're gonna have it at a different, later date.
Just the second part of that meeting.
Yeah, we
Still have
still
the
have to have that
first,
very first special meeting for the tax levy.
but we
believe
can
it's-
have the second one later.
We can have the, yeah, the second additional meeting. So that 6th, we would go from having 3 meetings to 2, our regular and that special reporting.
And kind of in that budget.
so when do,
And kind of in that budget workshop thing, Cody and I have talked to staff about the insurance type things, and she said, you know, with the storm coming, she didn't know what Cody's movement schedule was, but she was going to, after that, she was try to get together, sit down and go through some of that, so we may have actual better numbers for the budget for our insurance and stuff like that, so.
Right.
So based on the timeline Laura provided for us at the last meeting when we were making those decisions for dates, you have to hold, or it's suggested to hold the public hearing for budget adoption by April 23rd so that you can submit it to the auditor by April 30th.
so the 23rd, to get it into the paper, to get that meeting into the paper,
We would have to go the week before.
You would need, if you're having it on April 23rd, or, well, April 23rd is a Thursday, so let's, or no, sorry, am I on
and so the cutoff date for the paper is.
Thursday?
Thursday of the week
The
before.
Thursday before, so.
So say you, if you put that budget adoption, because your next special, or your next regular meeting will be on the 20th, if you put the budget adoption before that regular meeting on the 20th, you would need that to be to the paper by the 9th.
We're not having it on the 8th.
Just throwing that, he's just throwing that out there in case we must bring down.
But when this, when Laura
I'm sorry, March 30th, March 30th. We could have it March 30th as a special.
Which we can still change.
Yeah.
It's nothing
Just to
to
get on the schedule.
We don't really need to vote on that then, do we? We don't need to, we don't need a motion for that, I don't think.
So you just have a meeting.
Okay. Right, what we'll do is probably send out an email to everybody and say, hey, does this work? Let's do this. I'll set up the agenda. Dewey, since you are talking so hot and heavy on this money thing, do you wanna talk to Nick Weimers about?
I did have a conversation with him, and I think right now he has limited information to offer us because of the limited information he's received. So I think the plan was to hopefully get that process moving when Laura comes back to get him the stuff he needs, and then he'd like to come give, he'd like to come talk to us with, when he gets that updated information, to give us an updated report.
Yeah, I don't know about it in tax season, but I mean, you know,
It's gotta be done.
it's gotta be done.
Okay, anybody got any reports?
For me, Cody and I went to OPEC meeting and for COPEC meeting, we got some information on budget stuff and this and that, so at our budget meeting, we can bring it up then.
Sounds good.
And I had an individual, I wanna get your opinions on it, his water bill went from $50 to like 500. I know,
And it's like the LEC, they're paying twice what any community around here is paying.
no, his monthly bills were $50. Somewhere along the line it jumped to 500.
That's crazy.
I talked to that individual too, and I went over and shut the valve off for him.
Okay.
As I said,
In the toilet.
I said, could have been, it's about what it is, a running toilet cover until.
Well, that's
And he says, well, nobody else is in there. I said, well, Nick's been in there.
Hey Cody, I did read the meter. I went back like a week later and it didn't change. So that's just what I saw.
Yep.
Cause I thought it was a leaky toilet too.
I do know there's been a couple other citizens that had similar issues too, so just like following up with that and trying to hopefully get them nailed down, but like Kyle and I said, you can only help people so much too if it's not an issue on our side, as long as we've vetted everything out for them and crossed. Yep.
I looked at his account and his normal consumption over, like maybe a month would be 100 gallons, and then there'd be nothing, no consumption because he's not there. And then this was a consumption of, what the iTron person told me was over a month consumption of a leaky toilet. That is about the amount.
That it would raise it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we did look at the next reading, and it only went up one number from that, 612 reading that it was before.
So, what we have done in the past is, when something like that happened, is we have cut the water bill in half, or made them pay for all the water but not the sewer, or vice versa. So I wanted to get your opinions on it, see what you think. Go from there.
Get that on the next agenda. Do you wanna put that on the next agenda for us, please?
I noticed our water meters are getting to the end of their life.
Yeah. If we do that on the next agenda, that bill will be due, so,
I would say probably hold that bill with no interest until we get it figured out.
okay.
We'll bring it back.
But I mean, it's not our fault he has a leaky toilet.
That's right.
True, that's true, but.
We're gonna have a discussion about applying that to
Everybody.
others.
Yeah.
What you do for them, you're gonna
Because
have to do
people have left for the winter, come back with a $5,000 water bill.
else got any reports?
The only thing I have, just so you know, on the Ram, I'm gonna meet with Stephanie Living tomorrow. The Ram is still, the truck is still problematic on finding a repair for it because Rob is just, he's afraid. I mean, I don't wanna say afraid, I've gotta be careful here. I mean, he's not, doesn't wanna do it, but I don't know who we're gonna get to do it right now. So, we're just struggling through that process to try to sort out how to get it back on the road. I thought we had a solution, and I get his concerns. I mean, there's a lot of equipment inside of there that he's just worried about, and so I appreciate his attempt. So Stephanie and I are gonna sit down tomorrow and chat and see what we can come up with, and I'm reaching out to some of the bigger agencies that have to sometimes repair their vehicles. I mean, thankfully in this case, Josh, he, not to pick on you, but, you know, unfortunately, most of the time squad cars get damaged and they get totaled out. In our case, it's one that survived. You don't find a lot of work on survived squad cars.
Someone hit it.
Probably you.
I had a call from a citizen. The beavers are eating up trees. All out at the P, down by Farm and Home.
Yeah, Chad Walker, there's a beaver dam down there already.
I called Chad. He's more than willing to do that for us. But after April, I want to say 15th, he still has a license that he can do that. He can trap them or whatever he wants to do with them, but it will cost us money. He's going to start working on it now, but it will cost us a little bit after, I believe it was April 15th. I didn't write that down. But he's willing to do that for us, and from the looks of things, I think it would be money well spent. So I just wanted to say that, and anybody else got anything, Wes?
The county doesn't do nothing on that since it's a county dredge ditch.
It's inside
Within the city limits.
So I've had to approve Chad going down in there as part of that, but there is a county process to do each step of that. So then they have to get with the engineer to determine that, and then all that. It's an involved process, but he does a good job at what he does. So.
Yes, he does. He knows what he's doing. Nobody else has anything?
I went to Inspire Poco.
Oh, yes.
And that was a good meeting.
Good.
About communication, and I'm excited for the next few.
When is the next one?
April 15th.
Something like that. Good. All right, motion to adjourn. Grover. Lowe. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carried.
Guess I better clean up my mess.
We can't take you in.
No, you can't.
Yeah, I think the ground more